never accept this proposal." My brother's voice echoed through my penthouse office as he slammed my business plan onto the polished mahogany desk, sending my fountain pen rolling to the floor. His perfectly tailored suit couldn't hide the tension in his shoulders. "I am Eliza Maxwell, 38 years old, and Chief Strategy Officer of Maxwell Pharmaceuticals, a company my grandfather built from nothing and my father nearly destroyed through his reckless expansions. A company that, according to my brother James, I had no right to lead despite my Harvard MBA and decade of experience turning failing businesses around." "The proposal is sound, James," I replied, keeping my voice steady despite the familiar flare of frustration. "Redirecting our research toward rare disease treatments isn't just ethically sound, the projections show it's financially viable." James scoffed, running a hand through his meticulously styled hair. "Viable? It's commercial suicide. We're a mass-market pharmaceutical company, not a charity." I stood up, smoothing my skirt. "That mentality is exactly why we're losing market share to more innovative competitors. Father's approach isn't working anymore." "Father's approach built this company into what it is today," came a stern voice from the doorway. We both turned to see our father, William Maxwell, leaning on his cane, his presence still commanding despite his declining health. At 72, he remained chairman of the board, refusing to fully relinquish control even after his stroke last year. "Dad," James straightened immediately. "I was just explaining to Eliza why her new strategy won't work." "I heard," my father said, his disapproving gaze fixed on me. "The board meeting tomorrow will determine the company's direction, Eliza. I suggest you reconsider your position before then." My assistant knocked and entered cautiously. "Ms. Maxwell, Dr. Rivera is here to see you. She says it's urgent." "Perfect timing. Send her in, please." Dr. Sophia Rivera entered, carrying a leather portfolio. As our lead research scientist, she rarely left the labs, making her presence here significant. "Mr. Maxwell," she nodded respectfully to my father, then to my brother. "I apologize for interrupting, but this couldn't wait." My father's eyes narrowed. "What is this about, Dr. Rivera?" "The preliminary results from Project Phoenix," she answered, placing her portfolio on my desk. The atmosphere in the room shifted immediately. Project Phoenix was our secretive research initiative, one I had championed against my father's wishes, allocating resources from various departments to fund it without formal board approval. "Those results weren't scheduled for review until next month," James said, a note of suspicion in his voice. "We had a breakthrough," Dr. Rivera replied, opening the portfolio. "The targeted therapy showed 87% efficacy in the trial group, far beyond our projections." My father moved closer. "What targeted therapy? I wasn't aware of any trials in progress." This was the moment I'd been preparing for over the past 18 months. "Project Phoenix is a gene therapy treatment for Halloway syndrome," I explained. "The rare neurological disorder that killed Mom." The color drained from my father's face. "You developed this without board approval." "I redirected funds from the marketing budget and used my own money," I replied, holding his gaze. "The research was too important to be rejected without proof of concept." "This is exactly what I'm talking about," James interjected. "Reckless decisions that undermine our core business model." Dr. Rivera cleared her throat. "There's more. The treatment approach we've developed appears applicable to at least 6 other rare neurological conditions, potentially reaching a combined patient population of over 200,000 globally." I allowed myself a small smile. "And we've already secured provisional patents on the delivery mechanism." My father sank into the nearest chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. "You knew the board would never approve initial research into rare diseases. The ROI isn't immediate enough for them." "I knew you wouldn't approve it," I corrected gently. "The board follows your lead. They always have." My father's eyes met mine, and for the first time in years, I saw something there beyond disappointment, perhaps a glimmer of respect. "There's something else you should know before tomorrow's meeting," I continued, nodding to Dr. Rivera. She produced another document from her portfolio. 3 pharmaceutical giants have already expressed interest in licensing our delivery technology. Conservative estimates put the potential licensing revenue at $300 million annually within 5 years. James snatched the document, scanning it with disbelief. "This can't be right. I had preliminary discussions with all 3 companies," I said. They're prepared to fund phase II trials in exchange for partial licensing rights. My father was silent for a long moment, studying me with new eyes. You gambled your career on this, Eliza. If it had failed. It didn't fail, I said simply. And even if it had, I would have accepted the consequences. Some things are worth the risk. Like pursuing a treatment for the disease that took your mother, he said softly. Like transforming our company from just another profit-driven pharmaceutical into a leader in treating diseases others have ignored, I corrected. Yes, Mom's condition was my motivation, but the business case stands on its own. James tossed the projections back onto my desk. The board won't see it that way. They want predictable returns, not medical breakthroughs. My assistant appeared at the doorway again. I'm sorry to interrupt, Ms. Maxwell, but Ms. Chen from Horizon Ventures is on line 1. She says it's regarding their investment offer. I nodded, suppressing a smile at the perfect timing. Tell her I'll call back in 10 minutes. My father's eyebrows rose. Horizon Ventures, the Singapore venture capital firm. They're prepared to invest $200 million for a minority stake in a new subsidiary focused exclusively on rare disease treatments, I explained. The term sheet arrived this morning. James paled visibly. You've been planning this for months. 18 months, actually, I confirmed. Ever since the board rejected my proposal to increase our research budget. My father leaned forward, his businessman's instincts overriding his initial shock. A subsidiary would protect the parent company from financial risk while allowing the research to continue. Precisely, I said. Maxwell Pharmaceuticals maintains controlling interest and first rights to all developed technologies, while Horizon provides the capital we need to scale our research program. And if the board rejects this too? James challenged. I met his gaze steadily. Then I'll resign and take Project Phoenix with me. The key patents are structured in a way that gives me certain options. For the first time in my career, I saw my father smile with genuine approval. You wouldn't really leave the company your grandfather built, would you? I would, I said without hesitation, because staying true to what Maxwell Pharmaceuticals should be is more important than preserving what it has become. Dr. Rivera quietly excused herself, leaving the three of us in a moment of tense silence. My father rose slowly from his chair. Prepare your presentation for tomorrow, Eliza. Make it compelling. What are you saying, Dad? James demanded. You can't seriously be considering this. Our father turned to him, his expression softening slightly. James, your sister has shown the kind of vision and courage that built this company in the first place. Perhaps it's time we remembered what Maxwell Pharmaceuticals was founded to do. Help people, not just shareholders. After they left, I stood by the window overlooking the city. The research facility where my mother had spent her final days was visible in the distance. I thought of her then, her brilliance, her compassion, and her final words to me. Don't accept the world as it is. Reimagine it as it should be. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges. The board members, with their decades of entrenched thinking, wouldn't be easily swayed. James would likely marshal his allies against me. But for the first time, I wouldn't be fighting alone. My phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Rivera. Team is ready whenever you are. I smiled, tapping out a reply. Tomorrow we change everything. The next morning, I arrived at Maxwell Pharmaceuticals headquarters an hour early, my presentation meticulously prepared, my resolve unwavering. As expected, the boardroom was already charged with tension. Board members clustered in small groups, voices hushed. James stood with his closest allies. 3 board members whose investments had been guided by his financial advice for years. He barely acknowledged my entrance. Our father arrived last, intentionally I suspected, making his way to the head of the table with a deliberate slowness that commanded attention. His expression gave nothing away. Before we begin today's scheduled agenda, he announced once seated, I'd like to invite Eliza to present a new strategic initiative for the company. Several board members exchanged surprised glances. This wasn't on the agenda they'd received. I rose, distributing folders to each person around the table. Thank you, Father. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to present represents not merely a new business opportunity, but a fundamental evolution in how Maxwell Pharmaceuticals approaches its mission. For the next 30 minutes, I walk them through everything. Project Phoenix's breakthrough results, the applicable patents, the licensing potential, and finally, Horizon Ventures' investment offer. This is highly irregular, objected Harold Bishop, our CFO and James's strongest supporter. Pursuing unauthorized research, negotiating with outside investors without board approval. These actions border on corporate misconduct. I disagree, came a firm voice from the doorway. We all turned to see Eleanor Maxwell, my 92-year-old grandmother and the widow of our company's founder, being wheeled into the room by Dr. Rivera. Despite her age, her mind remained razor-sharp. "Grandmother," James said, clearly startled, "we weren't expecting you today." "Clearly," she replied dryly, "yet here I am." She gestured for Dr. Rivera to wheel her to the table. "I've reviewed Eliza's proposal in detail. It's exactly the kind of innovative thinking this company was built on." "With all due respect, Mrs. Maxwell," said Bishop, "the pharmaceutical landscape has changed significantly since your husband's day." "Has it?" she questioned, her voice gaining strength. "Has the fundamental purpose of medicine changed? My husband didn't build this company to maximize shareholder returns, Mr. Bishop. He built it to save lives." She turned to address the entire board. "My grandson James has served this company admirably by protecting its financial interests. My granddaughter Eliza now offers us the chance to reclaim its soul while securing its future. Both perspectives have value." My father cleared his throat. "Mother is right. This isn't about choosing between profit and purpose. It's about intelligently balancing both." The discussion continued for hours, questions flying, objections raised and addressed. James, to his credit, asked pointed but fair questions about the financial projections and risk mitigation strategies. When the final vote came, the subsidiary initiative passed 8-5, with my father casting the deciding vote in my favor. As the boardroom emptied, James approached me, his expression unreadable. "You outmaneuvered me," he said quietly. "It wasn't about winning, James," I replied. "It was about saving the company we both love." He seemed to consider this. "The financial risks are real, Eliza. I hope you understand that." "I do. That's why I need your expertise to manage them properly." I offered my hand. "Co-chief executives, your financial acumen, my strategic vision." Surprise flickered across his face, followed by cautious consideration. "You'd share the role." "Maxwell Pharmaceuticals needs both of us," I said simply. "Different perspectives, common purpose." After a long moment, he took my hand. "I'll hold you to those projected returns." "I'd expect nothing less," I smiled. Our father watched this exchange from across the room, a weight seeming to lift from his shoulders. For the first time in years, I saw a glimpse of the dynamic, visionary leader he had once been. 6 months later, as we broke ground on the new Maxwell Institute for Rare Disease Research, I stood with James, our father, and our grandmother, watching as Dr. Rivera unveiled the Institute's dedication plaque. "In memory of Catherine Maxwell, whose courage in life continues to inspire our mission." The company my grandfather built, my father preserved, and my brother protected now had a new chapter beginning, one that honored its past while reimagining its future. Sometimes the greatest business legacy isn't measured in market share or profit margins, but in the courage to remember why you started in the first place.